Dubai Autodrome was the venue for the third round of the UAE National Race Day Series. Back out on track this weekend and ready to race on the national circuit configuration were the UAE Motorcity Sportbikes and the UAE NGK Racing Series. The Sportbike Championship in particular has witnessed a growing field of riders this season and is already looking to be extremely competitive. And joining these two series were the competitors in the UAE Radical Winter Cup, who were looking forward to round 2 of their championship. But not all of the racing on the day was to go to plan. Following unseasonably heavy rain in the morning, both the qualification sessions for the UAE Motorcity Sportbikes and the UAE NGK Racing Series were delayed. A waterlogged circuit and the absence of wet weather tyres for both drivers and riders meant that it was too risky to send them out to race on slicks.
It's been raining for the last, I think, 2 days, so yesterday was good. Yesterday in the practice it was good. It didn't rain a lot and it was actually a dry track, so we did get some good times. We were hoping for the same for today, but it doesn't seem like it's happening.
This didn't stop some of the sport bike riders from getting their leathers on and making the most of a rare photo opportunity.
That's the closest I think we're going to get to actually being on the track today. As usual, nobody has any wet tyres over here to race in these conditions, so that's pretty much all we're going to get today.
By late morning, with no sign of a clear sky, the circuit officials had decided that in the interest of rider safety, the bikes wouldn't be able to race at all. Disappointment for the riders, no doubt, and this round will now be carried over to a later date. And whilst the wet weather proved a hazard for the sport bikes, it wasn't the case for the Radical Winter Cup. Thankfully, all the competitors had wet weather tyres, and by late morning were able to take to the track for a test session. The move proved to be a good omen for the NGK Racing Series, and by lunchtime, the tin top guys were able to get out on track also.
I'm sure this is a new experience for most of us out here. It never rains in Dubai apart from the one weekend that we're out racing. So the other thing is that we don't have any wet weather tyres, so everyone's on slicks for a wet race. It's going to be interesting. I'm sure it's going to be quite fun for the spectators. Not so fun for us, but we're all in the same boat, so it'll be good fun.
Eventually, with the help of the UAE Radical Winter Cup cars racing on wet tyres, the circuit was dry enough to send out the NGK Racing Series for their qualifying and race 1. Greek driver Kostas Papantonis was again on pole position in his Class 1 Seat Super Copa. And there were great expectations of a real battle in Class 2, with Alex Hanavas leading the class after qualifying by under a tenth of a second ahead of Ramzi Moutran. And as the lights went out, it was Papantonis who charged ahead of the pack in his more powerful Class 1 Seat. Not far behind him in the Class 2 field was being led by Alex Hanavas in the Renault Clio Cup car, but he was being chased hard by Rupesh Chanaki in his Honda Civic. And just behind him, Ramzi Moutran was always waiting to pounce. Mid-race, and Chanaki got the pass on Hanavas to take the lead in Class 2, but the Greek driver continued to put the pressure on the Sri Lankan. Meanwhile, Moutran was holding steady in 4th place overall. Elsewhere, and Jonathan Mullen was struggling with his Honda Integra and was unable to put any real pressure on the 3rd place Renault Clio of Willie Morrison. And that was how they eventually crossed the line, with Morrison finishing 5th overall. At the head of the Class 2 scrap, it was Rupesh Chanaki who finally took the win, but just half a second behind him was Alexandros Hanavas in the Clio Cup car.
It was a tough race because we changed the setup of the car to accommodate wet weather, but it turned out to be a dry track. So I had quite a battle with the 2 Clios, but managed to stay ahead of it.
As well as securing the 2nd step at the Class 2 podium, Hanavas also sealed victory in the Renault Clio Cup class, ahead of Ramzi Moutran, adding vital points to his Clio Cup Championship campaign.
It was quite nice. I enjoyed a lot, battling out also with Rupesh. Mostly I'm focused in the Clio Cup, so I didn't want to push. The only one I wanted was not to get hauled back and the other Clios catches me.
But in what was a relatively easy race, it was the Greek veteran Kostas Papantonis in the Class 1 Seat who took the win at the top step of the podium.
Yeah, it was an easy race, very easy race. Actually, I was racing against myself. And, but it's a race. It was a good present for my birthday.
Unfortunately, shortly after the victory celebrations for race 1, the rain began to fall again. And with only slick tyres to race on, the 2nd race of the day for the NGK racing season was cancelled. So a disappointing end to what promised to be a very exciting race weekend at the Dubai Autodrome. But join us again soon for the action-packed Dubai Motorsports Festival.